What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to FBA Capital. And today I'm bringing you guys another daily range case study on none other than NAS100. And today is Wednesday, November 1st, but we are going to be doing the daily range case study from Monday, which was Halloween, October 31st, and we're going to do November 1st. No, October 31st was Monday, and then we're going to do November 1st, which was Tuesday. So with that being said, we're going to get right on into it. As you can see, the previous Friday just ended up being a big trending day, bullish trending day. So let's just get into it. We're going to mark up the previous day's highs and previous day's lows. Boom. We're going to mark up the 12 a.m. open. And guys, this outline is very simple. I always do the same thing. Previous day's highs and lows, Asian session, which is going to be from 18 o'clock all the way to midnight. That is what I delineate as the Asian session range. I get everything that was in that range and I include it all in there. And then now we have this overall area and price. So there's going to be a few areas I want you guys to pay attention to. For example, this high, this low, and this high right here. I think these are going to be the most important in my opinion, and we're going to start off with this high up here. Why is this high important? So first things first, let's look at where we are in price. We were hovering around this 11,500 area. So it makes sense why when market opened during London session, price immediately dropped, pushed off that level before dropping even more because it came below that level. Now you're also going to see that price retrace into that 500 area right here also at 7:30 in the morning. But first, we're going to get back up here. So why is this area important? So at 1 o'clock in the morning, we had this small wick that ended up doing what? It came right above the 12 a.m. open, and made the high of the day. Because keep in mind, this line shows everything from this whole day to the right. So this was the highest point of the day, and this was made at what? 1 a.m. So annotate that at 1 a.m. we got the high of the day above the 12 a.m. open. And what other confirmations do we have for that area? One thing we could do is we're going to draw a fib from that previous day's high, which is all the way up here. It's that Asian session low. And if you look right over, that 38.20% level is what was rejecting. And if you don't know where I drew the fib, I drew it from up here. Even though there is a gap, I still would draw it from up here because this is the highest point and the high of the day from the previous day. So you can see the 38.20% fib. So we're going to annotate that in there also. So fib short 38.20% rejection. And that looks like the majority of the confirmations for this specific area and price. So now we're going to move on to the next area. So after this, what happened? Price came down, rejected. This is 500 level, had a push up. This push up was a move that happened at 4 o'clock in the morning. This is something that you potentially could have looked to take a trade off of, but me personally, I would have been looking to take a trade off that just because of due to the time. So after this at 7 a.m. price, well 4 a.m. price then dropped and did what? It ran the Asian session low. It targeted the Asian session's low. And why is that important? Because we know that once the Asian session high or low gets targeted, there's likely a chance that price could have a potential false break. In this case, price didn't have a false break. It came below and then it came into what? Look to the area to the left. We didn't even tap into it, so I'm not even gonna worry about that. Forget what I just said. But like I said, price retraced, had a drop, cleared the Asian session low. And at what time we made this low? We made this low down here at 4:45, but we ended up clearing the Asian session low at 4 a.m. But I'm just going to annotate this right here. So we had the Asian range low get ran. Even though that's not a crazy confirmation, these are just things I like to keep in mind on these types of days. So from here, this is where we actually got a potential trade set up. So like I was saying earlier, we ran below, ran the Asian session, and then we had a retracement back into this 11,500 area. Now that's not the only confirmation you could have used. Simply, you could use the high of the day that we have. So from that high of the day during the London session, you could have been using that this whole time because that is currently the high of the day through this whole situation. And if you would have drew a fib from this high of the day, which is London session, to this current low of the day, keep in mind, when you would have been drawing this fib, this drop wouldn't have happened yet. So you would have been looking at it like this. This is the current low of the day, and that's the current high of the day. And that's why you would have drew the fib. And as you can see, here at 7:30 in the morning, we had the fib short at 11,500. And we also came in And if you look even closer to the left, we came in and filled in this fair value gap that was left right there also in between this last 3 up candles right here, which is going to be a bearish order block. And then now you can see that right in here is the ideal trade. Why? Because it's also, if you take the fib and you refine this order block down to, I say, 50%, look at this area right in here. A lot of confirmations. So we're gonna start to write them now. So at 7:30 a.m. we had the fib short along with 11,500 big figure level rejection, along with this on the 15 minutes. So that's about a 45-minute order block, I'm assuming. Let me check I'll check the time frame after. We had a 45-minute order block rejection, and we also had the 15-minute fair value gap get filled. And then from here, this is what led price to overall have the major drop that it did in price. From here, what happened? Price ran all the way down and created the low of the day. At what price? Looks like it did come to that 300, but it looks like we just held at 350 mid-figure level. If you look even deeper, it looks like price actually tried to wick into this area down here. Unfortunately, it didn't. But what it did wick into was this fair value gap that was left in between here. And as you can see, that is what price did tap into. So we tapped into that 15-minute fair value gap at 10:30 in the morning, making that low of the day after we tapped in this area. Because from here, this is where price had the major drop off. So all these confirmations in here are very important, because you can see that the more confirmations in this area at a certain time led to a big movement in price. So those are things that you're gonna want to continuously learn and watch, because you're gonna be able to redo a lot of these things. So we have 10:30 a.m. we got the low of the day after price traded into a 15-minute fair value gap. There's not many other confirmations for this area. Hold on. Plus we tapped into that 15-minute fair value gap, but there's not many other confirmations in this area specifically right now. One thing you could potentially do is maybe draw a fib from the previous day's low to the previous day's high, which would be from here all the way to this high up here where we had all the other confirmations drawn. So as you can see, this is the 50% right here. So where the 38.20% is. Boom, 38.20% level is also right in here. So we can also add that as a confirmation. We had the fib long 38.20% rejection from the previous day's low to the previous day's high. And as you can see, price kind of moved from here. So let's say you didn't catch this low of the day, because this would have been the ideal move to catch for a buy if you didn't catch any of these shorts. So let's say you were in late in the market, even though at this point I wouldn't even been looking to take a trade if you missed these plays. But one thing you could have potentially did is simply draw a fib from this low of the day to this high, where price, wherever it created this high, it was in a consolidation. Boom. Let me just fix it. And if you don't know where I drew it from the low of the day bodies to this current high within this range that price was in. And as you can see, price came down at what time? 15, which is, I think, 13 is 1, 14, 2, 3. So we had 3 p.m. the fib long. If you also look at where we are in price, we were hovering that 400 area. I'm not going to put that in there because I don't want too many confirmations. But also, if you look to the left right here, right before price came and sweep these lows, right when we swept those lows, tapped into the fib long, that's when price started to push. And you can see it just pushed from there before the market ended up closing off for the day. So for the most part, that is the daily range for today. It ended, well, not today, well, this day that we did, if that makes sense. So where this is Halloween, Halloween had some okay price action, nothing crazy. There was still moves in here that you could have potentially caught. I personally didn't trade Monday. Did I trade Monday? I definitely did trade Monday. I did trade Monday. I was able to catch, I think, shorts, but I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on it. But for the most part, to this day was a bearish London continuation. London session had the high of the day. So we had London session make the high of the day before eventually just slowly dropping off for the most part. Oh, did it all. Let me do that again. Boom, 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 boom. But yeah, for the most part, bearish London continuation. London session made the high of the day. And then from there, we kind of just continued with that same trend to the downside. We made the low of the day during London session, not London session, during New York session. And we had a few moves during the New York session that you could have been able to catch. This pre-New York move up here at 7:30 a.m. would have been ideal. But you also could have caught this 9:30 short after we pushed and ran these highs. But that's all something that you could have looked to potentially catch. So yeah, with that being said, I'm going to screenshot this. So we're going to move on to the last daily range case study, which is going to be for September 1st. So let's just get rid of all this. You can see the price action from today so far. But we're going to go right over here and look at what happened yesterday, because I'm kind of mad. I missed this move yesterday. It was a big ass move and I missed out on making a lot of potential money, but you win some, you lose some. But with that being said, let's get right on into it. So now we're going to do the same thing we did with the other pair. We're going to mark up the previous day's high, previous day's low. Previous day's low, and then you got the previous day's high from that London session all the way up here. But all right, back to it. Then we're just going to want to mark up the Asian session range. The process stays the same, as you guys know. Not much changes. We're looking for the same things to happen on different days. So we want to keep the process as similar as possible. But there's going to be a few areas in price that I want you guys to pay attention to as of right now. For example, I want you guys to pay attention to this high, this low, this low, and those look like it's going to be the most important parts, because for the most part, you guys can easily see that the trend was one way. And we're going to simply also do another fib from that previous day over there to this high. And as you can see, it didn't even tap into it. So I'm personally not even going to draw it just because it wasn't even really there. So now that we have this, we're going to start looking at these areas in price. So why is this first arrow important? So for example, this could have been a potential London session trade that you could have caught. Now, even though today ended up being a bearish New York reversal, as New York session ended up making the high of the day up here at 9:30, price did that, but it also had this potential move right here. So as you can see, London session had this short-term London continuation. One thing I always tell you guys is you could get both a London continuation and a bearish reversal, or not bearish reversal, or New York reversal the same day. The London continuation will happen first, but there's always a chance that it could end up getting reversed on. So for example, this would be one right here. So this low, we had this fib long. I'm tired, as you guys can see. We had the fib long along. We retested the Asian session high. We retested the Asian session high, just like that. So that could have been a potential long that you would have caught. Could have took some partials off here. Could have took some partials at the previous day's high. But then what happened? Like you guys can see up here, the previous day's high got ran into at what time? 9:30. So we made the high of the day at 9:30, because as you can see, we ran that wick. Let's also keep in mind where we are price wise. 600 levels up here, but we got the mid figure 550 level right in here, and this is somewhere I would look to take a trade. I looked to take a trade at 550, but I ended up getting stopped out by this 9:30 candle because my stop was at the high. I didn't think it was gonna get ran, but it did. So now let's annotate. So we have the high of the day at 9:30 a.m. at the previous day's high got ran along with 11,550 mid figure level. Boom. So then what happened? Price ended up running all the way below and targeting what? Remember when I said that you can get the reversal and you can get the London continuation? We got the London continuation, but then what happened after the fact? Price ended up coming back down and targeting those London lows that were right here. So from that point, when this low got targeted, there was the London continuation setup for the day was already gone. No longer can happen. It is non-existent. So then let's annotate that. We'll put this other way. We got London lows. Boom, we got the London lows got ran. And then from here, price ended up doing what? Running all below, way below, and targeting the previous day's low. So we went from the previous day's high to the previous day's low. That would have been by itself a great trade. From this previous day's high to the previous day's low, even if you wouldn't have been able to get the best entry or the best exit, that range from there was about almost 230 points, 250 points. So that's a big move. And then what happened? We ended up making the low of the day after tapping into 11,250 mid figure at what time? 16.15, which is, I'm not sure, 13.1, 14.2, 15.3, 4. So at 4.15, we got the low of the day at 11,250 mid figure. And we didn't tap into that fib that I drew earlier. So for the most part, this would have been the ideal trade. Now we did run up a back above price, but for the most part, this would have been the best trade right up here. And I also forgot to put the 12 AM open right here. And another reason why this London continuation was important, because this low that it made was below the open at that time. So it showed that this was the low of the day, and this could have potentially remained the low of the day if price would have kept trending, say, to the upside and never had this drop. So that's why I say things like you can get both setups in the same day, the London continuation and the bearish reversal. Now I keep saying bearish reversal because this was a bearish reversal, but you can get either a London continuation or a New York reversal. So today was a bearish New York reversal, as you guys can see. London lows ended up getting ran through. I'm trying to fit everything in right here, guys, so it's like you can see it all. There we go. Now I'm going to take this screenshot. I'm going to send it in Telegram also. But what happened in here, we had the Asian session range. Before London session had these pushes, before eventually running the liquidity of the whole range at 9:30 in the morning, which was New York session. So with that being said, guys, hopefully this video was helpful. Hopefully give you a little bit of insight to how I personally trade or how I personally view the market. And with that being said, appreciate it for watching. Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you check out podcast episode 3. I got episode 4 and 6 coming. 4 and 5 5 and 6. Jesus Christ, I'm too tired. 5 and 6 coming soon. But with that being said, appreciate everyone for watching. I will see you soon. Stay productive, and I'll see you in the next one.